This episode is brought to you by Juice. If you don't have time to eat your vegetables, you can always drink them. That's what I'm doing these days. Juice. And now, here's a song. No justice, no peace. Take the streets, fuck the police. No justice, no peace. And now here they are. Your invenerable host, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. Hey, everybody. I really wish I could find the goddamn horn that used to be in the special effects, and we're back. I love this. Shout out to producer Tracy, because otherwise we would have no way to know that the show started. You wouldn't know. Just because I'm sat here. Hi. Do you have a warm bevy? I hope you do. I don't. I've been having warm bevies all day. What my mother would have called my ubiquitous cup of coffee. We don't have any sponsorship from them, but you know what? Fuck it. This is where I like to get my coffee. Shout out to Case Study. I had three quad breve lattes today to make it through the day, which I believe means I had a dozen. Oh God. Let's not talk about it. Hey, there's an album right there on the screen. You know what that is? If you've been watching, that's the album And We Ride. I'm on it. It's with my band. We're called Wallace, and we're good. Good enough that after you listen to it on Spotify, like I know you will, you cheap motherfucker, go to Bandcamp and buy it. Because we can't tour. And we can't hang out. So buy it. And then that means too that we can do we can set up a concert and do it on the here. Because you can't do it on the there. There's the cover though. Look at that. That's Aaron. That's Aaron on the cover. That's the lead singer. That's us. That's Wallace. All right. Let's keep it moving. Whoops. Oh, that's okay. We'll go here first. All right. That was a lot of flippy flips on the screen. Sorry. Boy, I hope that didn't just engage any seizures for anybody. On Monday, we're gonna keep our move of women in politics doing the thing, cause I'm gonna be sat here with Alicia Garza talking about her book that is called Something in Power that I am reading. I'm reading it. Okay, I didn't write it down. I'm a jerk. Well, but I've known Alicia for a really long time. We're going to talk. It's going to be great. I'm so excited about this. Y'all know we've been talking about whether or not this is going to happen for a long time. Then on Tuesday, the 8th, I'm going to be here with another powerhouse, Amber Boydson, right here in Portland, Oregon. If you've been hearing about any of the moms, the Wall of Moms, the Moms Block, any of the other kinds of moms that you can imagine who have been fucking it up in the streets in Portland, well, that's been because Amber Boydson has been engaged with even the whites, trying to get them to act correctly and quit fucking it up. And so we're going to talk to her about what that experience has been. As any of us who have worked with whites know, that's never anything other than an absolute treat. Just ask the women who got to do the Million Women March. Hey, do you like what we do here at Smoke and Mirrors? Well, where you're finding yourself right now is the philosopher's tree. You are under it with meself. And hell, all you got to do to support us is if you're over there on the YouTube, go ahead and like, subscribe. Leave a comment if you like. You could do what some of the bots do and suggest any of the weird sites where you would buy a Russian bride, and I will block you too. If you really, really love it and you're there on Facebook, you know what you could do? You could like it. You could start a watch party. That's a nerdy thing to do. Nobody does that. And is something's up with the volume, but it was the person watching. They let us know. Thank you for both of those pieces of information. No, thank you. Thank you for watching. That is also support. You're commenting. You're in the chats. That counts. Do you have 5 and you want to drop 5 on it? Because you know I am never going to bogart, but you just really want to get down. You could do that at the Venmo, Catalyst-Wyndham, at the Cash App, $CK Wyndham, at the PayPal, /me, CK Wyndham. And if you really, really, really got those pockets like that and you really are trying to support this and become a patron of the arts, well, you could meet us over at the Patreon at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That is for comedy, culture, and blackness. Some of the people who have done that are Ruthie, Erica, Amber, Aaron, Seth, Lisa, Kristen, Renisa, Michael, Natalie, Juliet, Tarika, Tracy, Venus, Jen, and Tink, and Anonymous. Because they said that they don't want any swag or recognition. So thank you. And that's all you're allowing me to say. So thanks. Because we practice radical consent here. So if that's all you want, that's all you get. Do you have your warm bevy, kids? Are we ready? I don't. Like I said, that was far too many espressos, quite obviously. I think I can see through time. It's awesome. Press juice, gang. Oh, Lord, I hate my vegetables. That's even worse. Oh, holy shit. That tastes like grass. Oh, God. Ha! I regret this deeply. Okay, well, we have a special guest today. Oh, that tastes like medicine. We have a special guest. Nope. We're going water. We have a special guest today. Chrisinte Ahn. Chrisinte Ahn, if you think to yourself, hey, I've heard that name, because I like Amy Goodman. I like the Democracies, and I like them now. And I think I've seen her talking words on it. You're right. If you're thinking, wait a minute, I know that name because I give a shit about breaking down borders and DMZ zones, and I think that is this somebody who's been doing it on a global level with the If you're thinking, wait a minute, I read Newsweek and son of a gun, is this the Chrisinte Ahn that just a couple weeks ago had an article in the Newsweeks? You betcha. And if you know me personally, and that's why you watch, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, wait a minute now. Is this the Chrisinte Ahn at the University of Boulder, Colorado, who, oh my God, yes, it is. I know. Who the fuck would have thought? But it's true. So with that, hey, everybody, each and everybody in whatever gender identifiers and modifiers work, modifiers. God damn it. See, Josh, I fucked it up. I think too much espresso, probably. All right. I know it's modifiers. I got it. Or gender modifiers work for you. Let's welcome together Chrisinte Ahn. And before you get into the goddamn chats, any haters, know that Fatima is right there and will kick you the fuck out. So don't even try and start any shit. Hey, under the tree, here they come, is Chrisinte Ahn. Welcome.
Hey, Carlos.
The applause. I love it. How are you?
Oh my God, it's so amazing to see you. I mean, I feel like
this is weird, right?
We partied in Oakland. I don't know how long has that been.
Did we?
But we did. It's been a while, but
my goodness.
Weren't you with the Ella Baker Center? You were with the Ella Baker Center.
Yes,
right?
I was at the Ella Baker Center.
Van Jones and
that's how you know Cindy.
Well, no, I know Cindy because we kind of crossed paths at the Women of Color Resource Center.
Oh, get out of here. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is crazy. All right. So one of my first memories of you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
no, no, no. It's
Okay.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. I know your child's there. You already told me. One of you were dressed. One of my first memories of you was meeting you in the dormitories at Hallett Hall, where I've met many a person with whom we've spoken here. There was something in the water. There was something in the water because the people there have gone on to fuck shit up all over the world, and I love it. And I love it. And I remember having conversations with you about how to fuck shit up.
Well, you were fucking shit up. You were such an amazing organizer then.
I was
I mean,
trying to
obviously
fuck shit up.
still, but I mean, the whole ethnic studies movement, you were like one of the drivers of that.
I
And
was there.
uh, yeah, you were a huge inspiration to me. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we were both in the Invest program. There were some amazing
Yeah.
folks in that program that I think have gone on to do some amazing shit in the world.
I got in so much trouble with them.
You did, because was
Yes.
your class the one that went to Cuba? No.
No, 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 no. So that program is a program from the University of Colorado. It's called the International
National
Volunteer.
Voluntary Service Training. Yeah.
Thank you. International National Volunteer Service Training Program. It is now pushing 25 to 30 years. I know this because I was invited back at 20, and I saw Liz Samworth there. It was great. It was great. And I was
You
supposed to.
Spencer?
Yeah, I saw the lizard.
Oh my God.
It was
Wow.
wonderful. I
Uh-huh.
was supposed to give a little talky talk about how I used what I learned there in my work. And then I started perusing the pamphlets for the program. And I looked at the years in the 1990s. And then I looked at the years in the 2000s and the aughts. And they looked exactly the fucking same. And so we had
Like
a,
hippie white kids? Hippie
oh,
white
just
kids?
hippie white
Oh.
kids and a person of color, maybe. So we had a different talk than they thought was going to happen. One about you do better or stop fucking up. And while it did earn them more money than they had anticipated, it was, I didn't win any popularity contests with them, but good people have gone on to do good things with them,
Yeah.
from them and with them, as you said,
Yeah.
as you
Totally.
said.
Yeah, and
So,
I mean, don't you feel like, I mean, it was through that program that we got to go down to Big Mountain, right?
yep,
To the Dene and
yep.
meet the Begays, and yeah, there were some great opportunities. I feel
Yeah,
like, I mean, I would never stayed at a homeless shelter unless when if I was in that situation, but
right.
forcing us to do that, and yeah, I don't know. I have I have some fond memories. And I got to go to
Yeah.
Kingston, Jamaica with Orvis Law. So that was pretty cool. And to the
There you
Jamaican
go.
Bloom. That was
Okay,
pretty
so
right
yeah,
up.
no, we were Kingston right before you. I think you were the last Kingston class, and then there was Cuba, and then there was International became Mexico,
Right. You're right.
and
Border. Right.
Indian country also became called International because of budget cuts and
Oh, yeah. Yep.
you know schools.
Anyway, we go back. That
We
was like
go
30 years ago.
back.
How long ago was that? No, not 30.
Why
25?
would you do that? Yeah, about 30. Yeah, about 30. About 30. Um, and since then, you have done quite a lot and are continuing to. I have been watching and marveling at your ass kickery. I it is astonishing to me, especially because as you alluded, we partied together, and I was a naughty girl. And so the idea that anyone who was doing anything that I was doing is somehow going to be able to sit in a room with any fucking diplomat and not just go fuck you, is stunning. How did you find yourself in such esteemed quarters? First of all, would you please explain to me with some clarity what it is that you do for real, so that I understand and I'm not bullshitting when I talk about it?
Well, you're so funny. I'm just like you. And yes, I do. I have a really trash talk mouth. And so what I do on a day-to-day basis is I run an organization called Women Cross DMZ. We were founded in 2015. You got it right. We organized a historic women's peace walk across the demilitarized zone from North Korea to South Korea. We organized 30 international women to do that journey with us because Korean women, North and South Korean women, they can't cross the DMZ, but we could, which is just so fucked up, right? Because it's on Korean land. But because that war has not ended, we decided on the 70th anniversary of Korea's division by the United States. The U.S. actually tore a page from the National Geographic and drew a line across the 38th parallel, and that's how Korea was divided. And so we marched. We marched with 10,000.
No. We can't go back that fast. Hold on, wait.
Okay.
National Geographic is who divided Korea? Wait.
No. Two U.S. military officers were assigned by President Truman at the time to basically divide the Korean Peninsula. And so they didn't know what the fuck Korea, Korea was a colony of Japan, and they were like, all right, well, where is Korea? So they literally tore a page from the National Geographic and drew a line across the 30.
Got you.
That's the beauty of geopolitics and the U.S. being an empire. They could do that kind of shit and get away with it. And no Korean was consulted. And when I learned this critical history, invest in Colorado, but I didn't know shit about Korea when I left Boulder.
Listen.
And it was really when I was a graduate student at Georgetown, I learned a little bit of this history. And, I had to go digging myself. Georgetown was not hand feeding it to me. But when I connected with a lot of the Korean American movements, Korean Americans who had been to North Korea, Korean Americans who had fought for democracy in South Korea under a U.S. military occupation, U.S.-backed military occupation, I just felt I'm Korean American. I'm an immigrant from South Korea. I have a responsibility. The United States has played an outsized role on the Korean Peninsula, and the war has not ended because the United States is refusing to let it end the war. And so I don't know. I mean, yes,
what
I
is
still
the
like
economic, is there a faux economic interest in this shit that the United States is pushing? Is this some cultural fucking idea that the empire's invested in? What is it?
Well, I mean, of course, it started with the Cold War. The Korean War was the beginning of the Cold War. They saw the Soviets, communism starting to take global reach. They saw China as a huge threat. And so the U.S., wanted to push back against the role of communism. And Korea was ground zero for that. And yes, I mean, we still have 30,000 U.S. troops in South Korea. It's a place where the U.S. could put its missile defense system to project power against China, to surveil China. So, yes, there's lots of, but we can't just it's an economic interest. It's like I hate that guy. What is that guy's name? That wrote the olive tree and the Nexus or whatever. What is that guy's name?
Oh, shit. I'm going to look.
Talking about the New York Times columnist.
I do. Keep talking. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. But he, I can't stand him, but he did say this really brilliant thing about connecting Lockheed Martin and McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's like the U.S. military is there to protect the corporate interests of U.S. corporations. And so It's not purely an economic thing. And, when we go to fight wars, as we did in Iraq, what we did in Libya, it's like, whose interests are we advancing and who gets caught up in that? The brown and black folks
Right.
That go to fight U.S. wars. And then they
Right.
come home, they get traumatized. They're the ones that are totally broken and then caught up in an incarceral system. I mean, it's just the madness of it all. And yes,
Yeah.
Korea became the basically the birthplace of the U.S. military-industrial complex. Yes, World War II, U.S. fought in that, but Korea began the war where the U.S. began the world's police state. And so, for me, it's not just about my Korean people and trying to liberate Korea under the yoke of U.S. imperialism, but it's also about, like, now I live here. My daughter is growing up here. I live in Hawaii, which is obviously also occupied territory. What are we going to do, to shift the U.S. from being the world's aggressor and empire, not just because to support the solidarity and liberation of people around the world, but for our own liberation, to actually try to build a decent and good government that serves the interests of the people. So yes, I know it's like an out of this world project, but that's kind of like the shit that I'm trying to do with Cindy, with GGJ and with Madre, with the Feminist Peace Initiative.
Michael Doran is the asshole who wrote that piece. Michael Doran.
No. What's his name?
You were talking about somebody else, because I got Michael Doran writing about the Nexus and the Apple trees.
That guy Friedman. Oh my God, you and I are both having a.
I know my research. I know
Thomas Friedman.
Thank you.
Thomas Friedman, right?
Okay, because this was then quoted. The idea of the Nexus and the olive tree was then quoted by Michael Doran after, and it was done pushing forward ideas of Kissinger and how wonderful it is to go ahead and assassinate African leaders, including Gaddafi. So, but the one you were referring to is who again? To let us know.
Friedman. Thomas Friedman.
Oh, shit. Yep.
Okay. I know. We're having a 420 moment. It's all right.
Well, I mean, one of us has an excuse. My child, bless their heart, gets an extra shout out today because they did get to actually play the role of Joshua yesterday, and had to sit here and watch Papa do this. That's a favorite.
Do you do this every day, Los?
Just about 4 days a week. We do Monday through Thursday. Have been since the pandemic. It evolved. It didn't start this way. It started off just fucking around, just like us.
Right.
Right. Hey, well, you got weed too? Okay. Hey, that your laugh in college that it was so particular and so affected. It was so brilliant. I mean, we all have so much recovery. Listen, look, anyone who knows me from college knows all of that like hyper masculine bullshit butchness that I was putting on top of it. Are you from? Did you spend time in Southern California? What the hell was going on with the way that you were talking?
I know. Well, I did. I did grow up in SoCal, in the Valley.
Okay. So you hung on to that Valley shit tight.
I did, but that's what's so interesting about my life history, because I immigrated to this country when I was 3 from South Korea, and then I went to 12 public schools growing up. I actually every year I moved. And so I lived all over Southern California. But then I went to Washington, D.C. I grew up in the suburbs in Virginia because I lived with my sister's husband, who was a white guy. And so
wait, after school or before I met you?
Before you met me. So
okay.
All
right.
Both, I have both Valley girl, and then I also have this hard edge D.C. girl. So it's kind of interesting how
because you were just busting out. You were just busting out with the listen, motherfuckers.
And I'm also I want to I want to be hardcore policy. So
Well, well, I mean, that's how you get it done.
that's how I get
That's
it done, I guess.
that's how you get. I mean,
I guess
that's
it's,
how.
I guess
Yeah,
it's disarming. People are like, oh, this woman must be kind of ditzy. And then I like to talk.
yeah. Well, yeah. I think if they hear you laugh first, then maybe they might make whatever stupid assumption they would like to make. But no, no. I clearly not. Yeah, no, and that's really part of what's amazing, right? Because in thinking about the evolution that forces us, right, as people of color in the yoke of white supremacist capitalist patriarchy, that each of us, I've thought about this quite a bit, ends up adopting these weird affects to navigate, right? To figure out how to make it through. And were I in a safer place, right, when we met, I never would have left the theater department, right? Also, the theater department wouldn't have been made up of a bunch of white kids against whom I didn't want to act, and we wouldn't have just been doing weird white plays. So it would have been a whole, I wouldn't have had to be in political science and have white women saying stupid shit in front of me, and then ethnic studies and so forth. So we live how we live, but it does require those many layers and those many tongues, right? As we develop, but then as we become who we are, it gives us many tongues that we are then able to use and have learned to weaponize very well, to make change and create place. And you
To
certainly
bring
are doing
lots
that.
of folks, bring lots of folks into the movement, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So we were talking about your
Yeah, help
relation.
yourself to another.
Oh, I'm going
Help
to. I'm
yourself.
going to. I'm going
Okay.
to. Yeah, but I can't. I know I keep moving my bong around, and the only reason is because I keep thinking of things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So you graduated from the university. Did you graduate in ethnic studies?
No, I graduated in political science with
Okay,
a certificate in peace and conflict studies.
dope, dope. Oh yeah, I got one of those too. I forgot. Yeah. uh, okay, so you graduated with the certificate, and you graduated in poli sci, and then you went to
DC. I
Georgetown.
went to DC.
Okay.
I worked for a few years in DC. I worked in the Shaw neighborhood. I worked for Bread for the City and Zacchaeus Free Clinic. I worked for Legal Aid. I wanted to become a public interest or poverty lawyer, and then welfare reform happened, and I just saw, dang, that's not for me. Like just case by case, helping poor folks is not for
Mm-hmm.
me. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that's when I decided to go to policy, study policy. And it was always like mixed. It's like I've always been interested in domestic issues,
Yeah.
issues of social justice, racial justice. But then, being Korean, being an immigrant, being diaspora, I've also been really interested in the international. I mean, when we went to Kingston,
Yeah.
Jamaica was an example of what happened when the IMF fucked up that country, right? As part of its neoliberal project and structural adjustment programs. And we saw what happened to Jamaica. So I've always, and then at that time was also like the struggle against the WTO and the IMF and the World Bank. And so I've also had my heart in
Yeah.
international policy and foreign policy. And so I decided, and I was living in DC at the time. So I went to Georgetown, and that's when I studied U.S. foreign policy. Obviously not. And I think that's where actually like all the critical study that we did actually in Boulder, and the opportunity to be in places like Ciudad Juarez and El Paso and seeing what happened on the border with the maquiladoras. And, I just feel like
Yeah.
all of that really gave me a critical framework to then which I was able to apply to Korea, you know?
It matters so deeply. I think that is I think right now, given our ages, given generationally, right, where we are, at the same time that we do have the tongues to navigate all of these different spaces. Yes. Uh, even young, growing up in a white city, I made an early decision, right? I want to be able to speak to princes and paupers and princesses and whoever, like anybody. I need to be able to navigate that, right?
Totally.
Say one more time.
No, I said totally.
Oh,
I'm
I
with you.
thought you said how old was I? Was like, oh God. Um, so knowing that and knowing where we are now, and a lot of that skill that I hope that I have gained some of and continue to demonstrate, that I certainly know that you have. Passing on that thing around the critical theory building, right? It's one of the things that foundationally, honestly, that separates the DeRays from the Alicia Garzas, right? It's like you can take credit for whatever the fuck you want to take credit for. You can wave whatever flag, write whatever tweet, do whatever the fuck. But if you don't have it behind you,
Mhm.
you're not going to be able to shed that skin and build the next, right?
Mhm.
When some opportunist shows up, man, trying to take credit for what it is that's being done. And I see that theory in what you do, even in the way that you move, right? Even with the badasses that you're moving with. I'm like, oh, ain't no dude stepping to these motherfuckers trying to take shit. You gonna be hurt. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Once I read that article with you in City, I was like, y'all better not even play. Y'all better don't even play. Will you talk about a little bit the content and the depth of what you all had shared, and how it is that you got, well, fuck what you shared. How did you end up writing an article together for Newsweek? What the fuck? What is that kind of
So
level up?
I know,
Do you ever look in the
it's
mirror at yourself and be like, what is happening right now?
um, okay. So, Cindy and I go way back. We both have roots with the Women of Color Resource Center. Linda
Okay.
Burnham has been a teacher and mentor to both of us. For folks that don't know who Linda Burnham is, she's a legendary feminist, Black, third world liberation movement activist, organizer. Grew up in Oakland, or actually grew up in the South and
Yeah.
also in Brooklyn, but has still living in Oakland. She started the Women of Color Resource Center with Miriam Ching Louie, but they were part of the Third World Women's Network in the 70s, with the Black Panthers, like also providing a feminist critique, but truly internationalist, truly anti-imperialist, and feminist, And so that's where we've been schooled. And I don't know, it was like many years ago. So when the Korea peace process was happening in 2018, folks may remember Trump meeting Kim Jong-un, but before that meeting, it was a meeting between the North and South Korean leaders. And I felt it was really important to show international solidarity for the Korea peace process because I knew the US would go in and fuck shit up. And so I organized a delegation of international women, which included Cindy Weisner and this other sister, Yufat Suskin from Madre.
Mm.
And, we're on buses going to the DMZ, talking story. And, it's just like I'm working on North Korea and Muda Edikat is working on Palestine. Cindy's working on, domestic issues, whether it's climate justice, immigrant rights,
You name it. You
Ifad is
name it.
working.
If
Yeah,
it's some
it's
shit got to be worked on, Cindy up in it.
right. But we just felt like, you know,
we are constantly in this, I feel like, cyclical dialogue
Mm-hmm.
about this continuum of violence, which is US militarism, but it is also in the form of police violence and brutality. It is in the form of ICE, but it's also in the form of US invasions, of US military bases. And how do we try to bridge that divide that exists in our minds, even among activists, of like, you work on US foreign policy, you work on domestic issues,
Mm.
but we will never be able to tackle the many heads of US militarism unless we try to bridge those divides. And so that's when we said we need to convene a gathering of some of the sharpest minds of sisters and gender nonconforming folks that are working on movement for Black lives, working on immigrant rights, working on Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba. How do we come together to start thinking about doing some movement education and doing some interfacing with progressive lawmakers to really try to shift US foreign policy? Yes, there are some progressive groups in DC, some of the Washington groups, but it's not movement driven. And so, how do we mobilize grassroots voices, the experiences of diasporic communities, the experiences of folks, of people of color that know intimately what AFRICOM is doing to communities in Africa, that know intimately the experience of folks in Central or Latin America because of US covert or overt wars, or financing Colombia's military or Israel, or it's just time to
Yeah.
democratize the process of shaping US foreign policy. So it is an ambitious project, but we came together and we launched something called the Feminist Peace Initiative. And so that Newsweek piece is just the beginning of our attempt to try to democratize US foreign policy. I don't know if that makes sense.
Come
So
on now. Come on now. Does that make sense? I mean, that's the thing, right? Like a lot of what you're talking about is, like you're saying, it trying to move from the cyclical conversations where we begin to literally see ourselves in the past, right? Literally see and discover that the things that we're saying that we think are so goddamn brilliant are the exact same things.
totally.
The exact same things.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the I Am Not Your Negro movie and giggling my ass off like it was a comedy because I was just like, oh, I say that. Ah, this is great. And the white people in front of me like right up until they saw me and they turned right back around. It though is not as useful as understanding what you just talked about in that when we are able to recognize the long-term sustained networks and relationships that are built and led by women, femmes, queer folk, non-binary folk, and work in deference to these and to this rhizomic life of interconnectedness, understanding that, yes, I have to work on this particular subject at this moment, and it has everything to do with the success of what you're going to do, my sister, right? And that if dudes shut the fuck up and listen and follow, maybe doing dumb shit like bringing water holes closer to where the domestic abusers are, thinking you trying to create some kind of nice situation for people. Ugh. Or, as my daughter most recently had been talking about, when you're analyzing what you call cave art, every single thing that you see is analyzed as, well, this must be a war painting.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what y'all paint. Y'all paint war. We paint whatever. It might just be a painting of some buffaloes. Shoot. So, yeah, that deference that you're calling for is it. And that interconnectedness is it. And it makes absolute sense.
Totally. And how do we have a feminist framework in trying to offer solutions? And, I just recently had a conversation with Linda Burnham because she's doing a project called 2050. It's just like really getting us. So she's interviewing a bunch of activists to just like start imagining, what do we want to see in 2050? And, I think that while we've had these cyclical conversations, there are historic windows of opportunity. And I do feel like right now is a historic opportunity with the pandemic, with the racial justice uprisings, with the call for abolition. We are at a historic window. And it's not just, we know it, obviously, Lois, at the movement level, but even among mainstream Americans, you see calls to cut the Pentagon budget. You see calls, poll after poll. We need to resolve U.S. conflicts diplomatically. Yeah. There is in the water. It's in the air. People are fed up. They see that all the investment in missile defense system or weapons of war and destruction are not protecting Americans. It's not saving people's lives from COVID. And that we have such a broken system where the basic levels of governance are inoperable. And I just think, the pandemic is, what Arundhati Roy says is like, we are in a moment right now where we have to work and like fight our hardest to, once we are out of the pandemic, to have radically transformed the direction of the way that the world is going. And, there's a part of me that's like, shit, I'm so exhausted. But in many ways, like, don't you feel like everybody's slowing down a little bit, having the opportunity to reflect, just witnessing the both suffering, but also just the like, wow, we can do things differently. We don't have to do them in the kind of like frenzied, harried, traveling this and there. It's like, yes, technology, like being on this thing all day long. Yes, that is freaking draining. But also at the same time, it's like, we can do it for free in some ways, right?
The blessing and the opportunity in it. It can't be ignored either on the organizing, the global, the personal, the professional levels. This conversation happening this way, right? In such a way that extending the stupid idea that I created at See You Around a Philosopher's Tree or whatever the fuck would be a thing that now we're able to do publicly, right? And to share and provide access and interconnectedness with people. We've had people viewing from New Zealand, from across in Asia, it's incredible. This is not a thing that happens in another circumstance. Like it or not, it just doesn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild.
I know. I feel like I used to travel so much, Carlos, and now it's like I've been on island since February. I've like had the chance to like really bond with my daughter. I was gone a quarter to a third of her life. Yeah. I actually I'm just taking care of myself. I'm surfing. I'm taking care of myself. And so there's been some gifts in this pandemic that wouldn't have happened without it, Yeah.
You said you're on island. What island are you on? Which island?
Oahu.
You're on Oahu. So, okay, so you're on Oahu. So let's backtrack. You were in D.C. You did some shit. Then you started over to Oakland. Okay. And how long were you in Oakland?
About a decade. Over a decade, because I worked at a place called the Nautilus Institute in Berkeley on North Korea issues. I worked at Food First. Do you remember Honorata Mitchell?
Yeah. Yep.
To work with Honorata at Food First, and then I went to go work with Linda at Women of Color Resource Center, and then I worked at the Global Fund for Women in San Francisco.
Okay. God damn, that's a lot of places. That's a lot of history.
And then I moved here with my ex-husband, who was invited after he finished his doctorate from Berkeley by a group here called Ma'o Farms. They're an amazing organization. It's started by a Hawaiian woman, and they're on the west side in Waianae, and they have a youth leadership program, but they're trying to prevent the school to prison pipeline and to create jobs in sustainable agriculture, in local food production, in food sovereignty. And so they invited Albie to help them finish their undergraduate and associate's degree because he teaches sustainable agriculture and food justice stuff. So that's why we moved here. And yeah, it's somewhere along the way, you know, we kind of grew apart. And so, yeah, so now I'm free.
Yeah, the Gen X moment of like, oh no, we're not doing this, has been a shift.
Well, I mean,
It's been a
that's
shift.
where I feel. Yeah, I just feel so. I mean, I don't know if you're still with your partner, but I
No,
feel
no,
like that.
no, 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 no.
No.
Well, I'm with a partner. I am not
Okay.
with the person with whom I created a walking child. I'm not with that person any
Yeah.
longer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
because I feel like feminism in many ways like has been such a gift for me because like growing up Korean, which is very patriarchal, like very like Christian, like, you know, all this stuff about like, oh, you have to stay married for the family, for the kids. And it's like
yeah,
feminism is just like, fuck that. You know, it's like if you're not truly happy, if you're not liberated, like, what is this family about? And like, what
yeah,
kind of, how do you want to model for your children about what is happiness, what is joy, what is like being family? Um, so, yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, we spend so much time, I feel like as activists, we take care of shit in the world, but we don't take care of shit in our lives.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's
Yeah, no,
nice.
my
That's
sister
what's
and I
nice.
splash around and revel in our divorces. We call each other like, "Ooh, girl, how your divorce? Girl, my divorce, beautiful. How your divorce? It's lovely. It's lovely." And I ain't and listen, I ain't even mad for the people we divorced from. I hope they happy having they divorce too. Shit, go have it.
Oh, but did you do conscious uncoupling?
We did a lot of therapy.
Uh-huh.
And it was a long time ago now. It was a decade ago, but we did a whole bunch of therapy, and then we did me moving to my mother's basement, and then we did a conscious decision around co-parenting. But it took a lot of time. There was no, what the fuck is conscious uncoupling?
Well, it's just, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, it's basically what it sounds like
I
is, you
mean,
know,
yeah,
how do we recognize that the marriage or the partnership no longer serves either one, and you try to center the interests of the child or the children, and try to do it in a thoughtful way that both you try to have as much respect for the other.
then yes, then yes.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
didn't have words like that for it, but yes.
Okay. Anyway, we're talking from the political to the personal.
I told you. I told you.
Yeah, there's no
Uh,
boundaries. Yeah.
yeah, very little. I mean, that's one of the things that over the years, not that I had a lot of boundaries before, uh, has grown to be more true for two reasons. One is very intentional, right? The want to live as integrated as possible, right? And I was talking about this yesterday. I was having a chat with Gabriel Teodras. I say his name he just told me don't say my name like that, and I've been saying his name like that because Rashidi and I've known him for a long time, and Shidi always used to say it like that. Teodros, I can say that. Gabriel Teodris and I were having a chat about the very thing, and being integrated for me meant an opportunity that was presented to me, the idea that was presented to me by Walida and Marisha. We were having coffee, and I was like, well, what do I do because I had just lost a job. I had just stepped away from a job. I was like, I don't know what to do. And so we had a coffee talking about what we could build. And she went, well, this is what you do. And I looked at her and I went, what are you talking about? This isn't a thing. And then I kept talking and kept thinking. It was like, oh, you mean, oh, yeah, okay, I could do this. So that's a lot of where this was born. And
You at it.
yeah, so it was that kind of integration. And then the other part was the development of, hey, Dory Hacker.
Get out, Dory Hacker from Invest.
Dory Hacker from Invest is in the chats right now with a heart for you. Yeah, and then the other thing was MS, because then what happened is that the frontal left lobe of me brain, the place where you would censor yourself, that part I don't got it. I don't got one of those no more. It's dead. But they bicarbonate froze the rest of me with rituximab. And so it's not getting worse, but it does mean that for me to censor myself takes a lot of effort. I can do it. I can go to meetings. I can negotiate a contract. I can get somebody fired. We can do the things. But then I got to go home and smoke some pot. I can't, because it hurts. It's painful. It's physically painful. I don't like it. So doing something like this where I just say whatever the fuck, I'm good. As Dory just said, it is a sensor exhaustion. I got it. I'm out of fucks. The fucks deficit, the fucks bank is closed. We're done. I'm out. So.
Wow. Carlos, did you know, has that been a condition that you've had your whole life?
No.
That you just.
Oh no, this is, I was DX'd, I'm going to say about 6 years ago now. I had it though from the evidence when they looked at me brain about 20 to 25 years prior to that. And so though I am certainly impacted and certainly somebody who does live with MS as part of my life within the range of that, right? I still have a lot of survivor's guilt because I get to go jogging, not as much as I used to, but I can still physically do that. I have most of my mobility most of the time. And the way it really shows up is if I do things like having a job or a boss.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stress, which is great because the girl got to start her own business and is doing much better. Thank you. And it's better for my health. I mean, same kind of thing. I never imagined, I was horrified and scared about the idea of owning a business, of having to be responsible for such shit. And certainly being the boss of me, because I know what kind of employee I am. I was a little scared. So yeah, no, it's really been a blessing in disguise in so many ways. And building this with my partner Tracy, and it's been wonderful, and really making community and having the opportunity to do this, and see Dory and talk about how we fuck up the system and fight the power and break the fellowship.
Yeah.
We're still writing our story. We're there.
Yeah, isn't it weird how or amazing how life just happens that way, right?
The universe
provides.
I'll tell you what, right? Take 25 years, and I used to cuss out Facebook for exactly this, right? It's like you break up with a person, you divorce a person, you leave behind high school and college, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're not leaving anything behind. Oh, everything's coming. Oh, we're just taking it all. Oh, fuck. Okay. Well, alrighty then. And it's very different. I don't think it's a reality that our ancestors really had to carry with them. You just every once in a while break out their yearbook and like flip through it. That would be about it. I don't
I
think they
know,
had
it's
this a
true,
lot.
right?
Oh,
It's kind of scary. Yeah.
it's scary and wonderful. It's scary and
Yeah.
wonderful. It is a weird time machine, as we talked about, right? Like I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine because I'm looking at you as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at each other. It's like, oh yeah. I see you in there. I see you in there.
Wild, right? Yeah,
You're in there.
me too.
Yeah. Woo! Buckle up, youngs. All right, before I let you go, what's the advice you have if you're giving the youngs advice? If you were gonna actually assume your age, if you were going to allow me to auntie you up, what you got a bit of advice you drop on the youngs? You got something you tell people that you wish you had known?
Well, I mean, I would say the one advice that has served me is find your mentors. Find the people that you respect and you admire, and seek out those mentors, because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have learned the skills or made the contacts or gained the political capital I have without those people who believed in me and who really gave me a lot. And so I think that, if you're committed to doing the work that you want to do in the world, whether it's working on climate justice, racial justice, ending the carceral state, find your mentors, because there are folks that see you as part of the solution and investing in you as part of the solution. And when we make this a multi-generational movement, we're gonna win. And I would say that's my advice. That served me well.
I love it. Thank you so much, my dear friend. It is so wonderful
it's
to
so good
spend
to
some
see you, Carlos.
time with you under the philosopher's tree. Get out of here. You can explain what that means to your daughter later if you want to or not. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We know.
Well, when we're out of the pandemic and I come to Portland, I would love to see you. I would love to come see and hear your music and dance to your
I would love
music.
to tour to my music and to help people dance, and I'd love to go do my comedy and do some lectures. I miss it so much. As much as right, all of the benefits you were talking about not traveling. God damn it, I miss cutting through that line because you had the shit. You know what I mean? Oh, you're waiting there? I'm going to be over here. Boop. You know what I mean. Oh.
Yeah, you're a star. You're a star, Carlos.
Oh.
Yeah, you deserve to be on the stage.
Stop it, you are. I love you so much. This has been wonderful.
I love you too.
Oh, thank you for spending some time. My peoples, please, a little bit of applause for my friend, Chrisinte Ahn.
Thank you, Carlos. All right, I'm going for a swim and surf with my daughter.
Hey, go do it. Why am I showing just you? I'm supposed to be showing us. Go do it. I'm going to say goodbye to these people. Have a great swim and surf.
Thank you. All right. Aloha.
That is self-care. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Come on now. How many times have we had somebody here who say they're going to go swim and surf? Shit. This is amazing. My friends are fucking geniuses. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being under the tree. You're dope. That's who's dope. And for the youngs, that's that we said the word dope. a lot. That's one of the things that's true about Gen X. We did say that word quite a lot. Sorry about that. If I had one bit of advice for folks younger than myself, it wasn't going to be as profound as what Christine said, but certainly every bit as deep, which is you are going to want to take better care of your asshole than you think. Start now. This has been an episode of Smoke and Mirrors. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time here. And if you like what we do, you can go ahead and check us out at the IG. That would be Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That is for the comedy, the culture, and the blackness. You can check out my own words at Twitter at Caballo Negrito. For the monolingual amongst us, that means asshole care. Caballo Negrito literally translates to mean asshole care. If you have a comment, a question, a thing to say, well, you can go ahead and drop that to us at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. Do you have a guest, a book that you've been reading that you think we ought to know about, that we should be talking about? Please let us know. Smoke and Mirrors CCB at gmail.com. We will look for it. We will pay attention to it. This right here, well, this is an event that is produced and hosted by myself, Carlos Karim Wyndham. This is also produced by Tracy Tatamy. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to say this like I say it every time. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Please do not go outside. If you do go outside, wear a mask. And when you come back in, wash your hands. Why? Because we love you and we'd like to see you back here again next time, which I guess will be next week. So with that, we've done another show. Thank you so much for being here, people. Bye-bye.